And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Varsity Link Coaches Corner, live on the Shore Sports Network. Tonight we broadcast from the Office Lounge in Toms River. Kevin Williams along with Bob Batters and Ed Sarluca talking Shore Conference football. Our spotlight tonight is on the Point Borough Panthers. And we'll be chatting with their coach and a couple of their outstanding players as we move on into the hour. We are approaching, it's hard to believe this, it's the next to last week of the I'll call it the regular season, all right? I know there are games after that, but it is the next to last weekend of the scheduled season, games that are on the schedule, full schedule, because we'll be talking playoffs before you know it. Playoffs.
Real soon.
But we're getting to that point. By the way, every time we have been at the office this year, the weather has been like unbelievable. People behind us eating outside. You know, we're now in the middle of October. So that I just jinxed that, right? The next time we're here, it'll be 27 degrees and snowing outside, yeah. But we are really getting late into the season, especially with the change of the schedule and the way the playoffs are this year. The regular season ends in October. The playoffs start at the end of October, the week of October 28th. So we are moving along, and the season is rolling. And as we take a look at our Jeep Store Top 10, Bob, it looks to me like no real dramatic changes. I have a couple of mistakes on there, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are all the same from a week ago. Mm-hmm. Red Bank Catholic, Toms River North, Point Borough, Donovan Catholic, Middletown South, and Ocean. Colts Neck moves up to 7. Jackson Memorial enters the top 10 at number 8. Raritan enters at number 9, coming off their big win over St. John Vianney. And the Lancers drop a couple of spots to number 10. Rumson, Middletown North fall out of the rankings, and Matawan is the team, as Bob would say, watch for, as they are 5-1. The top 10 is brought to you by the Jeep Store in Ocean Township. Check out the jeepstore.com. If you need an endorsement for them, speak to Bob or Matt, Bob or Ed. They are both very happy owners of Jeeps from the Jeep Store.
That's true.
My Jeep is nicer than yours, by the way.
Oh, here we go.
Got the Grand Cherokee.
In the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. Bob has multiple young children.
Yeah, I do.
You are well retired.
Come on.
And you got $3 million in the bank. So.
My Jeep holds 8 people, my Grand Cherokee Laredo.
Goes home to the counting room and just
absolutely.
Yeah, I
big
wish.
Cigar.
I wish.
So, boys, let's again look at last weekend. And was there anything that sort of popped off the chart in terms of upsets or surprising games? I know we honored Raritan as our Jersey Mike's Team of the Week for their 36-33 win over St. John Vianney. But anything else that pops out?
I mean, in terms of the top 10, as you mentioned, the top 6 are the same from last week. And that's really been the theme all season in the rankings. And most years it is. You have parity in the bottom half, so there's been kind of a revolving door and some movement there. We've had some occasional movement in those top 5, 6 slots, but for a large part, it's been the same teams. As you mentioned, Jackson Memorial comes in. They're 5-1. Only loss is to Colts Neck, which just keeps winning after that season opening loss to St. John Vianney. So Colts Neck moves up. Jackson comes in, and then Raritan, as you mentioned. That's a big win over St. John Vianney. It's a rivalry game. I mean, proximity-wise, they're very close to each other. They've played some good games over the years. So Raritan comes back in after being ranked earlier. And then St. John Vianney, they have the win over Colts Neck, but they fall a couple spots. Just, that's the nature of the most immediate loss, because we do have kind of a triangle there. Middletown North falls out with the loss to Long Branch, and Rumson, difficult to drop. Rumson's 3-3. We know it's a solid team. Their losses are all to teams ranked, in the top 10 with Toms River North, Donovan Catholic, and Middletown South. So is it a little bit unfair to drop a team when their losses to top 5 teams in the Shore? It is, but they'll have plenty of opportunities to get back in. And also with Matawan, you mentioned Shore Regional, also 5-1, clinched a share of that Patriot Division title. And we know the Blue Devils are always in the mix, and they're certainly knocking on the door of the rankings.
Can we safely say that we'll take the top 5 or 6 teams, the number 1 team at the end of the line is in that group?
I would say, I would even go, I mean, I don't want to pigeonhole myself, but I'd say that's accurate, but I'd say
I can't throw Ocean out. I can't throw Ocean out if they should be impressive all the way through.
Yes. I mean, look, if you're undefeated now and you go undefeated, your name is certainly going to be in the conversation to be number one, and that's Point Brewer included. So a lot of football left to be played, but, yeah, certainly right now it's hard to see anyone from outside there
jumping all
doing
the way
that.
up.
But it's happened before, and you never know what the playoffs are going to hold, especially in a season where we can go all the way down to group champions and really, that would change a lot if a team that we didn't expect to won it all.
What's interesting about this new way the Shore Conference does its schedule is the record itself, I think in some ways means less than ever before, because it really a lot is strength of schedule.
Quality wins is what matters most.
What'd you think?
Quality wins.
Oh,
is what
absolutely.
Matters most. It's more similar to college football. It really is. There's your strong conferences and your lesser conferences. So, 8-3 in one and 11-0 in the other are completely different.
Ocean is undefeated. They're ranked number 6. Donovan Catholic and Middletown South are ahead of them. The Griffins have 2 losses. The Eagles have 1. But I think you would be you would be honest in saying the schedule for those teams ahead of them, who they've had to play this year, is much more challenging. I'm not disparaging the Spartans in any way, shape, or form, but you have to get a reward for who you play and who you beat, and maybe a slight penalty if you don't play anyone at all.
That's the toughest part of putting together the top 10 every week. It's that you try to balance that. Okay, this team might be, Rumson's a great example. This team's 3-3. Are they one of the top 10 teams in the Shore? Probably, but you also have to factor in the other teams that have quality wins and have 1 loss, maybe 2 losses, like the Colts next, the Jacksons, Raritan, St. John Vianney, and factor that in. But the nice thing is, though, at the end of the year, it does sort itself out. I shouldn't jinx myself because last season we had that triangle, with Donovan, Rumson, and RBC. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But, yes, that is not all divisions are created equal, and it's really you have to factor in a lot of things, strength of schedule included, when putting together the top 10.
I don't want to make him anxiety-ridden, but when Brian comes up here, Staub, I'm going to ask him how they figure out the OSI and the UPR, because that's what ultimately determines what your rank is.
I'll tell you how. You go to Gridiron, New Jersey.
Come on.
You go to Gridiron, New Jersey, and see what those guys do.
That's where I go, to Gridiron, and I just read the number.
Those guys are great.
It's unbelievable, Kevin.
Brian has math teachers on call that he just calls up and said, okay, do the numbers this week. Okay, give me the numbers. What are they? It is a I always feel like it used to be they used to do that right with college basketball. They'd give you those numbers, the RPI and everything like that. I'm telling you, nobody knows how it is. Nobody knows how it is. It just happens and you accept it.
Do you think on Monday morning there's a guy, with, big glasses on, and he's like about 100 pounds, and he's got a computer, and he's figuring out the OSI and the UPS or UPR?
Can you picture him like he's in a little office?
Yeah.
And I figure he's smoking in his house. He's chain smoking cigarettes.
He's just locked in the basement in office.
That's it.
You cannot come out until the UPR is completed. I hope not. That's a tough job.
Oh, it is a tough job. And again, you know what? I have gotten, as I've gotten older, I've always said this. Top 10s, they're for the fans to argue and have a little fun with.
Look, they're power rankings, not power standings, as I hear every morning on NFL Network.
The only thing that counts, in truth, is the end of the season. And it usually works itself out. And I think every coach will tell you, and coaches claim that, I don't know, top 10, I don't follow that. The only one that counts is the last one. Mm-hmm. If they're number 1, they're really – listen, if they're anywhere on the top, they're really happy because they had a very good season. But that's the one that really counts.
Okay.
Of course.
All right, Ed?
Call me up on Monday morning. Let me know who the top OSI and UPR teams are. Because that's when it counts. In 2 weeks is when those numbers count. The top 10, we'll wait for that until December. But those numbers, it's in 2 weeks. And then they add them up.
Yeah. And at this point in the season, you can get a good idea of where teams are falling. But I'll be honest, I'll look at it when they're ready on Sunday, Monday, and get a good idea. But you can't live and die by it every week. I'm sure the coaches have their finger on the pulse of this, certainly. But you can't live it and die every week. Those last couple weeks, maybe you're going to look and see where you might fall. But, once it's clear and the teams are slotted where they are, that's when you go ahead and get ready for your next opponent.
I always think about how at the end of the year if we were putting a wrap on the football season. And, Bob, if you were writing a 2-paragraph thing, the 2022 season, I don't want to be Mr. Negativity, but there's been a lot of bad stuff that has happened in Shore Conference football this year. We've had the serious injury from the St. John Vianney player,
yes,
the Keyport player, right?
Marlboro's
Marlboro quarterback.
Not to mention Central Regional having
Central Regional losing, one of maybe the best running back on the Shore before he had 5 carries. We've had, let's be honest, we've had this incident with the Asbury Park Keensburg game a couple of weeks ago, and now you have the Long Branch Neptune game this weekend, which is going to be played before no fans, which will
move from Friday to Saturday.
Move from Friday to Saturday, and you can read into whatever you want. But I mean, it's sort of, to me, it's put a damper in a little way. There's been a lot of things that have happened on the negative side that, honestly, I don't remember in recent past.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the injuries are, a part of football. Obviously, those serious injuries, you never want to see those occur. And certainly, our hearts go out to Aaron Van Treese from St. John Vianney, as he continues to recover. And then Logan Blanks from Keyport, who thankfully looks like he's going to make a full and complete recovery, as is Marlboro's A.J. Schwartz from that lower leg injury. But then the canceled games, you hear, threats of violence or things going on in the neighborhood, so these games have to get moved. And, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's sad, frankly, that has to, be the case in high school football. Obviously, that's not anything we want to report on. I don't enjoy writing about that. I can enjoy writing about the games and the positive accomplishments. But that has been what has happened so far this year. Hopefully, this is the end of it.
Yeah. I tell you, it's pretty cool. How about the people who have done the messages for Aaron Von Treese?
Yes.
So Tom Brady last week.
There's been Howie Long. A ton of
really cool things. The Brady one was really cool. Listen, he's Tom Brady, and he's wishing the kid good luck. And I'm thinking, so I'm sure that has to lift his spirits just a little bit. I mean, those kind of things,
Certainly. And what the community, the Shore Conference football community in general has done, and you see there's fundraisers out there, different student sections and the student bodies getting together, a couple weeks ago, for a blackout for Aaron Van Treese, and people putting the word out and helping donate to the cause for Logan Blanks. And that's the positive part of this, a positive that comes out of several negatives is that, this is a really tight community and there's a lot of rivalries, but when it's something serious goes on, we take care of our own. So that has been great to see.
I agree with you. Well, we're going to take a quick little break, and during this break, we're going to get Brian Staub up here, the head coach of Point Borough. Ed is going to quiz him on the formula, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the 2020-2022 Panthers, who are rolling along undefeated with hopefully a lot of big games left to play. You're watching the Varsity Link Coach's Corner on the Shore Sports Network. And welcome back. We are on the Shore Sports Network, of course. Kevin Williams, Bob Batters, Ed Sarluca. It's the Varsity Link Coach's Corner. We're live at the Office Lounge in Toms River. And thanks for joining us tonight or whenever you happen to watch this, because, of course, we archive all our shows on shoresportsnetwork.com. You can watch them whenever you want. It's our own version of On Demand. You demand it, you watch it. And we're thrilled to welcome in the head coach of the Point Borough Panthers, Brian Staub, in his 5th season at Point Borough. As we mentioned, the Panthers are 6-0 and ranked third in the Jeep Store Shore Sports Network Top 10 and looking for some big games down the road. Coach, welcome.
Thanks for having us, guys. I'm excited to be here. Let's talk some Point Borough football.
I love it.
He's always high energy, man. I'll tell you what. Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
That was sort of low key there.
For him.
It's early. It's early.
We're going to let it build.
Before we get into it, does it feel like just yesterday that you were in high school playing football? Because it feels like it was just yesterday. I was covering you, winning the state championship at Brick Memorial. I mean, time does go by pretty quick. Now you're the head coach of one of the best teams in the Shore.
Yeah, but sometimes I have to play scout team quarterback. And
those days are over.
Way, way over. Not nearly as fast, I'll tell you that.
So, Coach, you're 6-0, and let's be honest, you have rolled in all your games. You're averaging 46 points per game and giving up 5 points. So it's been a dominating season so far. And I'm going to actually start in an unusual place, and that is, are you concerned at all about your lack of being in games in the fourth quarter, where you call it crunch time and grind time, and how your team will handle that when you expect it to happen at some point during the playoffs?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but not really, because this group is just different. They have that it factor. We brought so many guys back from last year. They played in big games, state sectional final home, regional championship at Rutgers. Majority of the starters are back, and just they have the preparation. They're so consistent in their approach, and they just love this game. So now they're ready to go.
Brian, the coach's theory now. Okay, you ready for
Yes,
it?
sir.
First scrimmage, maybe, the middle of August. Toms River North hosting Point Borough.
Yep.
I watched it intently. There were like 5 or 6 fights during the scrimmage
loves asking
in
this
maybe
question.
20 plays the first time around. I thought, and you held your own with the big, bad Mariners, okay? You held your own, and I think you guys grew up in that scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, we were excited for the challenge. We wanted them. We wanted them right off the bat, and it was us versus North. And we definitely held our own, and we kind of answered the call, and we were just physical. That's what this group is. We're physical, we're aggressive, we're fast, tough. It's the best weight room group we've ever had. It's a machine like in there, and it just transferred to the field. So that was a great first scrimmage. I do think we turned some heads, but we were happy leaving the field.
We could probably do an hour just with you because, given that you're undefeated, you have so much talent on your team, a veteran team, there's a lot to talk about. I want to go back to the offense, or start with the offense. Kevin mentioned 46 points a game. You guys were a high-scoring team last year as well, highest in the Shore. You run the triple option, as you always have. Traditionally, that's an offense. Most people think of it, you're going to wear teams out. You're going to grind out long drives. You're going to maybe wear teams down, hit some big plays in the fourth quarter. You guys are different. You guys can hit a home run on the first play of a game and continue doing that. All 3 of your ball carriers, your main ones, are averaging over 10 yards a carry. I mean, that's almost unheard of. So how different is this version of the flex bone with what you guys bring to the table?
Yeah, it is different, and it's special. And you just said it, 3 guys over 10-plus yards a carry with Oliphant, Soleno, and Jay Croce, and those 3 can take it to the house on any play. It obviously starts up front with a physical, dominant offensive line, which we have, and also perimeter blocking from the wideouts and slot backs, and also Matt's reading it at a high level. He's a smart football player. He's hit the ground running, which we fully expected. But he's reading it at a high level. He's doing a great job of getting the ball to the right guy at the right time, and that's when our offense is at its best.
You have not had to throw the ball this year. You've not been in a position where you had to throw it. I think Matt's thrown only 20 passes all season long, and he told me before the show he'd like to throw a lot more. but anyway, no, seriously.
No, that was serious. He said that to you.
So let's just say 3 or 4 weeks from now you're in a game and it's the third or fourth quarter and it's a tight game and maybe they've taken away some of your running game. You really need to throw it. Are you confident you can successfully?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's something that we practice every single day, and we've shown the ability that we can throw it, in spots here and there. But, we're going to take what the defense gives us, and if the running game's going, we're going to run it. If they pack that box, Matt has no doubt the ability to throw it, short, intermediate, or deep, and we have some good wideouts as well and slot backs. So, we're excited, and when the time comes, it will come. We expect big things.
Brian, you know what I coached, right?
Yes.
Ultimately, that's where your season will lay.
Absolutely.
Will lie, I should say. I mean, defensively is what it's about. Tell me the plans for the defense.
Yeah, they're flying around. It's a fast defense. Again, physical, aggressive. They love to hit. And defense wins games, like you said. And our defensive coordinator, Shannon O'Connor, and all of our defensive coaches have done a great job. They're in year 5 together, so they kind of grew along with this process. And they're flying around, and, we believe if we can be the better tackling and blocking team, that gives us a great chance to win that game. And, we focus on fundamentals every Tuesday and Wednesday, and we just keep repping it up and trying to get better every single day.
You mentioned the offensive line. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't go more in depth on that, because that, to me, is something that really sets you guys apart. You're a Group 2 school. It's not often you're going to be huge up front. You guys are big. You're physical. You're going to be as big or bigger than every team you're going to play, I imagine. And when you have the skill players you have, like you said, man, that takes the offense to a whole nother level. So just how about having that? Obviously starting with the big guy, Cole Skinner, 6'5", over 300 pounds, but a lot of really physical kind of bulldog mentality players you have up front.
Yeah, and it obviously starts with Cole. And, what separates great players from very, very great players is the ability to get everyone around them better, and that's what Cole does. He's raised that standard of the entire offensive line. Charles Davison, returning all-division player. Senior Declan Pratt's having an outstanding first-year senior starter. Joe Mazzaro, Michael Smith at guard, and junior Zach Law and Aiden Ward at tight end. We've really grown into a tight end set team, and like you said, just so fast that yes, they're big, but they can move. And it's scary when they're that big and can move.
I bet you had a tough time picking 2 guys to come with you tonight.
It was. We're so solid.
Put the names in the hat.
That's it. It's a team. That's all they care about is the team and winning. And when you have that selflessness, that's when you can do some really special things.
And he's not kidding, because when we had the media day at Monmouth University mid-August, he's like, "I'm rolling with 10 guys. Like, how do I not leave one of these guys home?" I said, "Bring as many as you want."
That's it.
Yeah, a couple of schools complained, but that's okay. Brian, I wonder this. You were obviously a very good player in your day. You took over as head coach in 2018, right after a team that went 11-1. Your first year, you won 3 games. Your second year, you won 3 games. Then the pandemic season, which I think we all agreed the record doesn't mean, but you were only 2-4. Yep. And then last year, kind of hit at 10-2. I'm wondering yourself personally, did you have any doubts about your own ability those first couple of years when you struggled a bit?
A little bit. I did. I'll be honest. It was tough. We just talked about this last week. There was some dark times, when you're staying up late at night, like, how could I be so wrong when you think you only knew one thing in life was football? How could you be so wrong about something you love? But we were just waiting for this group. They had success at the AYF levels. We knew they were different, and then they came in at the perfect time, and it just all clicked. It's such a special group.
What has always been impressive to me about Point Borough football in general, for as long as I've covered it, is, again, for a school, it's a small school, a Group 2 school, you guys always have really good numbers. And that's, again, the same thing this year. And you guys have really good depth where you don't have to play a lot of guys 2 ways. And when you do, it's mostly the skill players, some guys in the secondary at linebacker, but mostly, up front, front 7, both sides of the ball, the guys are fresh. How much of an impact has that made? I know a lot of times you guys are playing, your starters only playing a half in some of these games, but how big is that ability to go 2 platoon with most of your roster?
Oh, that was huge. That's huge, and, I could go really at every position, but I'm going to pick fullback to start. Just obviously Jay Croce headlines that, and we finally got Tyler Gordon, last game, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's probably the MVP of the state sectional championship last year, so we say playoff times, TG time, so his time's coming. And a talented sophomore, Dylan Rittmeyer, behind him, and even quarterback. During Toms River North, Connor Sleno was the quarterback. No one knew that. Matt didn't even play in that scrimmage, and we still moved the ball. So it's just a testament to, how we practice and kind of, the program that we're at right now, I guess.
I know you would tell me officially the most important game is Friday at Barnegat.
Absolutely.
Right? And then the next most important game will be the week after when you play St. John Vianney.
Yes, sir.
But we like to look ahead.
Yep.
Okay? It's the nature of the beast, right? So we're all kidding aside about the playoffs and the power rankings and all that. At what point will you start looking at the teams you might see in the postseason and really get a look on them?
Yeah, I mean, we're glancing at the, group rankings and all that, a little bit, but the whole message this whole year, since July, was we know we're going to play in big games. We were fairly confident in that. Let's just enjoy the moment, be where our feet are, and just enjoy being together because, again, this is such a special group, and we all share just the love for the game, the love for one another, and they're high achievers, we're high achievers. The whole system is just really, really fun to be a part of.
One of my favorite places to cover a game is Alsana
Oh,
Field.
without question.
It's great on a Friday night. We were there for the Manasquan game earlier, and just everything that comes along with the home game. The student section's awesome. You got people walking through the neighborhood coming to the games. It's a great atmosphere, and that's just kind of Point Borough in general. So tell me what it means to be the head coach for the Panthers at Point Borough and just part of that community.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a dream come true, and that atmosphere you see is a great representation of this team. They all grew up together. They all played AYF. They all rode their bikes everywhere. Like Point Borough, it's not normal. You can't do that in many towns, but we like that. We don't want to be normal at all, in anything we do.
I don't live too far from there, and a big game, a lot of noise. I could hear you guys.
That's it.
Over on the edge of Brick over there where I live.
If those lights are going, that means we're doing something right offensively.
You got that right. I mean, you got it going, be injury-free. That's what I, would hope. And, you'll go to the end. I think you'll be there.
We'll see. Foot on the pedal.
Every week when it's, I'm writing recaps of games or we're talking about teams in general, and certainly your team, the top players are always going to mention the star players. Obviously Matt and Cole and Jake and Connor Soleno and players like that. You got a lot of returning starters on both sides of the ball who have had their headlines at some point. But who's a guy that no one outside your program really knows that is an underrated guy that has really impressed this season and has been a big part of your success?
I mean, no doubt it's Sam Raglia. Hands down, one of the leaders.
He knew.
Cole knew. No doubt. That was the easiest question you guys had so far. He's one of, if not the leader of this team. Complete glue guy, so selfless. He starts at, one of the slot backs, gets more of the blocking duties, then turns around, doubles up on defense as a strong side outside linebacker on every special, just hands down Sam Raglia.
And, I'm glad you asked that question because only people involved with the program would know that. And he's
huge.
not the guy, in all honesty, like Bob said, you're not writing about him every weekend, but you guys recognize how important he is. And he's not the only one, but he's the one that stands out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those non-box score guys, I like to say, they're not going to show up there maybe a little bit, but they're really important.
His impact's huge. Huge.
This is like when I was in high school. Yeah, I know. I rode the horse to high school and all that.
Did they wear helmets?
Yeah.
Oh,
leather. They were leather with no face
Walked
mask.
this dinosaur to school.
But you know what? When I was in high school, all kidding aside, my junior year, I was when I say part, I was really good at sitting on the bench. But I was on a really good team, undefeated, didn't lose a game. Practice was fun. You wanted to go to practice every day. And the next year, we were lousy because everyone graduated.
Yep.
So you said something about you really have to enjoy the moment. Whether you're a senior or junior, it doesn't matter. You got to enjoy this because it's kind of like a gift. You don't always get this. Not every kid in his high school career gets to play on a really good team.
No, it's true. It's true, 100%. We're all just having so much fun. And that's a word I don't think you hear enough of in high school sports or high school football. Like, we really enjoy being around each other. Our practice atmosphere is awesome. Do we get after it? Absolutely. But, you can get after it and get better while all still having fun. And these guys, they love football, and so do we as a staff. And it's a really good.
Good teams obviously create good reunions down the line, right? Good 10-year, 15-year. By then, it'll be we shut out 8 teams, and we scored 50 a game and so on. But, the one thing is, and we won a state championship. And we won an overall state championship, which you guys are heading right towards.
Yeah, we have blinders on.
Yep.
We do hear that. We understand that. We that's our goal, no doubt. We talked about goals, in June and July when we had our first mini camp, and that was certainly one of them. But, we just have blinders on, and we're just being where our feet are, enjoy one day at a time.
You set a high bar last year.
Yeah.
You know what
absolutely.
I mean?
Yeah, we did. And, 35 and a half on offense is good, and they won at 40. And right now we're there, and we're trying to continue that.
This is what you wanted, though. I remember talking to you before last season, and, you guys craved winning so much, and now you're there, and it seems like Yeah, this is the expectation. Like, let's enjoy it, but this is the standard. And it seems like from you on down through, the last JV player, that is complete buy-in.
Yeah, the mindset of this team is just unbelievable. Offensively, we truly believe we're going to score on every single snap. And I know some teams can just say that, but we truly believe that. And it's a fourth and goal mentality. And yet we weren't in a great spot 3 or 4 years ago, but boy, do we remember that. And I think that's just what fuels the fire. Every single day we're on a relentless pursuit every day.
It's down the line, but would you want another shot at Haddonfield?
Absolutely. Yes.
28-27 in the finals last year.
I can't say yes enough. Yes.
I'm sure that is a shared opinion amongst the entire group.
And they're great.
Yeah.
They're down. They're down there. They've had success for a decade. And Coach Delano, he's one of the best down there in all of the states. So, but absolutely, we would look forward to that challenge.
Point Borough is truly one of the Shore's traditional outstanding football programs.
Yeah.
Go back to the Al Sainer days. You guys touched on it. What an atmosphere on a Friday night, the black and gold. It's just truly
a great
special.
Sports town.
It's
really
a great sports town. And I think Brian said, because it's a community. It's a community town. People are so close to everything. Mm-hmm. You don't have to get on a bus and ride 20 minutes to get to school. And there's something magical about that. Neighborhood schools, when they have success, you get to really appreciate it. Manasquan's a perfect example across from you. They've had that kind of thing. So, Brian, we love talking football with you. Your enthusiasm is contagious, and we wish nothing but you and the Panthers the best wishes down the stretch, and we look forward to with your two guys in just a couple of minutes, and thanks again.
Thank you, guys. I enjoyed it as well.
By the way, one more quick thing. When Matt comes up, make sure you tell him I like his socks tonight.
Deal.
Okay?
Done. They are good. They are good.
They are good.
That is Brian Staub, the head coach of the Point Borough Panthers. And we will talk with Matt Oliphant and Cole Skinner right after this. You are watching the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network. And welcome back to the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network. Of course, we always appreciate the support of our partners at Varsity Link. Make sure to download that app, Varsity Link app, if you're a high school athlete in any sport. It's a great way to social network with other athletes and also put your information up there so when schools start looking, they have access to your 40-yard time and all that stuff. So varsitylink.com, or just go into the App Store and download the Varsity Link app. So there you go. We're back. Ed's taking a little break. We're joined by senior lineman, as we mentioned, Cole Skinner, and junior quarterback and defensive back Matt Oliphant. Welcome, guys. Good to have you along. Were you insulted, Cole, when Ed said, when Bob, did you say 300 pounds? Were you insulted at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. I just want to make
I
sure.
think he wants to be.
Yeah.
I think you'd be insulted if I said like 280.
Yeah, because I noticed he only
Right?
drank water. I mean, I thought maybe he was like,
Look, you got to stay. You need championship hydration.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good point. Guys, no, seriously, welcome and congratulations on the start. And I will call it the start because I'm sure as your mind it is only the start. And Cole, I'm going to start with you. Coach Staub is obviously very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
But what he said about this team, all the things about how special they are. Now, you're a player. Do you feel that as well?
100%. I mean, like, we've been playing forever together. We've been playing since 4th grade. I always played younger with Olafon as my QB, so we've dreamed of this. We've known this was coming since 7th grade. We knew that we were going to be the team. So
I'm just going to, before Bob jumps in, obviously last year did not end the way you wanted. 1 point loss in a championship game. I'm wondering how much that loss fueled you in the off season. The whole team, when you're in the weight room, when you're doing all that stuff, to sort of, we got to avenge that next year.
Yeah, so obviously it was angry. Our seniors last year, we felt like that was going to be the team to win it all, but obviously it didn't end that way. I think even before every game, we always think about that, and that's our drive to be the best we can be. Last year, averaging 35.5 a game was. We wanted to raise that standard. We wanted to be better because that team obviously wasn't good enough. So, got to raise it a little bit better.
Which you have, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Certainly have. Matt, you've had a great start to the season. Averaging over 11 yards a carry, 12 TDs. And like I said to Coach Staub, every time you guys touch the ball, it's a realistic chance you guys can score. But from your perspective, you play slot back last year, averaged around 8 yards a carry as a sophomore. And this year you come in as the quarterback. How excited were you? Charlie Vitale, an excellent senior for you guys last season. He graduates. How excited were you for you to take over and be the QB?
It was awesome. I dreamed as a little kid watching all the Borough games, watching my cousin play quarterback. It really came true. Charlie, was awesome. He kind of taught me the offense a little bit more. Playing slot back also helped, with all the blocking and all the reads and everything. So, it was great.
You, as an option quarterback, you want to have that point guard mentality, which I'm sure is something he said a bunch of times. But, distribute the ball, get it to the right guy at the right time, keep it if need be. So that part of it is huge. But, again, you have that ability to take it to the house in any play. So in what ways do you feel like you bring a different element to that position where it's traditionally, just kind of be the guy that distributes?
It is fun to, break that long TD, but triple option, it might be, 3 yards and then you break one, and then with the triple, we got to get the ball at the right spot to the right player every drive, so that's how it really works.
So is there any conversation in the huddle beside you? Are you the only one that really talks in the huddle? Or, Mike, like Croce or Salento, say, hey, yo, can I get me the ball in the next play? Or is it just pretty much you command the huddle?
It's pretty much just me, No one really cares who gets the ball, who scores, We're all pumped up for each other, Just it matters if we're winning.
We're going to see you at A-back anytime soon?
I've been asking for it. that's not. I've been trying.
I'm sorry, Staub, if I'm creating
I like it.
something I shouldn't hear, but that would be interesting.
Oh,
to see.
I would love to see
Full
that.
dive?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or give it to him on the pitch. What the heck?
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
want to
saying.
see him coming around. That's like Trent Williams last year in the 49ers coming in motion. Like, nobody wants to see that. But the offensive line is something that I think really sets you guys apart. Again, Group 2 school, you're not traditionally going to have huge offensive linemen. And in a flexible offense, a lot of times you don't need to. As long as you get guys that are quick and can have good feet and can be where they need to be, sometimes it's all you need. You guys have that and a lot of size. So tell me about the group as a whole and just the pride you guys take in having three ball carriers that are averaging over 10 yards a carry. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, so me and Boom, obviously, Boom Charles, we were starting last year, and then it's like we kind of had to take these new guys under and help them because they've never played this offense before. It's a step for them. Luckily, they've been so great at learning the process and everything. We had Michael Smith, who was obviously starting before Joey, but they just both picked it up so fast. I remember Joey used to play tackle in the preseason, but that wasn't working. But it's okay. He's still dominating right now. I mean, better lineman grade than me this week, so I'll give that to him.
Yeah, finding those five and how they fit when you're getting a few new guys in, I'm sure was something, but. It didn't seem like that took you guys very long. I mean, you hit the ground running and obviously haven't stopped. So did it come together pretty quickly?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they all loved it. Even though we're not as big as we were last year, they want it. They want the position, and they want a challenge. So that's great on their part.
Matt, how good is it having those guys in front of you? The 5 linemen and your tight end, I mean, that's a security blanket.
Oh, it's awesome. They love what they're doing too. They might not get as much fame as, me, Jake, or Soleno carrying the ball, but running behind them is great. They're opening up huge holes that you don't really see in football sometimes. And even slot back Sam Maraglia too is playing crazy perimeter blocks.
You guys defensively have been incredible. As good as you have been offensively, you've been just as good defensively, and it's just the nature of it. The offense is always going to get some more credit just because it's people want to see touchdowns and whatnot, but you've shut out 4 of your 6 opponents. You've only allowed 1 touchdown at most in each game. I know you don't really play a ton of defense. You're kind of in and out, but just how about that group and what they've brought to the table? I mean, these are games you guys are blowing teams out at halftime, and you could tell those guys and even the backups that come in, like they want that shutout, and you guys will be able to really play games great defensively from start to finish.
Yeah, like you guys said earlier, we have the depth, which is amazing because they love defense. I mean, we have Connor Reynolds at the end. He's been playing since he was basically a freshman. Aiden Ward at the other D end, Boom at the nose, and Slade who's a sophomore. He's playing amazing. I was so happy that he took my spot because he's so good at it. And he's only a sophomore. He's going to be so good by the time he's a senior. But the defense loves what they do, and they do it so well. And I'm so happy for them. It makes our job easier on offense.
And a guy that's really played well defensively and plays along you on the line, I think one of the more underrated guys is Charles Davidson, Boom, as you guys call him. You line up right next to him? So you guys next to each other? So obviously you know him really well. How important is he to what you guys do, and what are some of his strengths? Because he's a really good player I don't think enough people know about.
Yeah, he's probably one of the hardest workers on our team. He's going both ways, and for a bigger man, that's it's a little harder to go both ways, but that kid never quits. I've never seen him come out on defense and then just be like, no, I don't want to go back out. So that kid's got that motor. Same with our 2 DNs. They got that motor. They don't want to be taken out. They want to stay in the entire game. They want to get sacks. They compete at the D-line. That's our D-line coach's biggest thing, Coach Saipa. Who has the best stats at the end of the game. They want them to earn it. So it's a competition out there, and they love it. So
Cole Skinner and Matt Oliphant from Point Pleasant Borough. Matt, Coach talked a lot about your team speed. Who's the fastest guy on the team?
I don't know. I know Connor Solano's got that breakaway speed. He's pretty fast. We would have to race. Me, Connor, and Jake. We're all pretty quick.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, well,
when you don't
that's
know.
why they average over 10 yards a carry.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Cole, I want to say this, too. I got a chance to watch you against Manasquan in week 2. I was on the sidelines. Physically, and Bob and I have talked about this, you remind me a lot of Quentin Nelson when he was in high school. And the thing you both have in common is there are a lot of big kids who are, I'll use the word sloppy. You're not, and you have terrific feet for a big kid, and that was what we thought Quentin Nelson, we saw him play basketball and couldn't believe that was the same kid that played football. Is that something you worked on, or is that a natural, you just had that naturally?
No, it was definitely not natural. Coming back to my sophomore year, I sucked. But I went out and trained, and it was a big journey. I mean, me and my dad would go up there 5 to 6 times a week, and my trainer just took me under, and he got me so much better to the place I am. And there's so much room for improvement still, but it's just from where I was to where I am now, it's crazy. So, yeah, no, that is definitely not natural. I can tell you that for sure, but no, it helps having.
Oh, no question.
Matt, Coach Staub talked about this team's focus, and I remember talking to him before last season. You guys just, as a group, tired of losing, wanted to get back to winning like Point Bar usually is, and that weight room and everything kind of drove that and the way you guys went last season. And then you come in this year with a chip on your shoulder too, just from the way last season ended, even though you knew you had a great season. That focus and the ability to maintain it each and every week, even when you're winning 42, 50-something, nothing. How do you guys keep that edge?
I remember when we played at Rutgers last year, just looking up, seeing all of our seniors crying, we really took that, and that's our motivation. We got right back into the weight room, then the next week, and everyone was fired up. We were ready for the season right there. And, it really all went through in the summer during mini camp. Was play for those seniors. They're your brothers for life, and that's what we're kind of doing this season.
There are some who believe dream big and realize it. So I'm wondering if either of you guys ever dream of being at Rutgers the first weekend in December and holding that championship trophy.
Every day. I mean, it's been a constant figure in my mind since the day we lost. I mean, even on the bus ride home, it was I want to be back there. And in our weight room, when we went down there in 2017, we have pictures and it says what we do to get back here, and then we put another one up and it says what we do to win here, and the next one is going to be what we do to win again. So that's we're going back.
I love that.
That's
These are
great.
the things that make high school football so special.
Absolutely.
And Kevin and I have a different perspective. You know, we had our own high school careers. We covered the Shore, so we see a lot of different programs. But for you guys, like, all you know is Point Borough football. Like, you've been growing up in this town, playing AYF. What does it mean to play football, to put on the black uniform, every Friday night, and go out there, whether it's home with that great support, or just representing your school and just everything that comes with being an athlete in that town, which loves its sport so much?
Oh, it's awesome. All week in school, all the kids are fired up, to be in the pit at night. And, everyone walks over from our community. The community's great support. They all love it. They all once wore black and gold. It's all a tight community. So, playing, you're playing for your town, and all the students in your school, which is really awesome.
Cole, you try to, as a senior, and as Coach Staub said, go out there, have fun, soak this in. But last year, do you try to soak that in, especially those home games? You only have a certain amount of them, and running that onto that field?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a special moment for Point Borough because we're so, like Matt said, we're so close and everyone knows everyone. So being home is always great because you have the whole support from your community and everyone knows who you are, and having all the Pirates line up and they know your names. Like, if you go to a bigger town, they're not going to know the names of the kids because there's too many. So that's amazing, just having, like, even the younger kids know us and we know them, and it's just great. And then even away games too, like, we still have support. I've seen us have more fans at our games away than they have in their home. So it's like, it's crazy. So
that's all. I mean, small town America at its best.
Oh, absolutely. Cole, last thing for you. You have made a verbal commitment to Temple University. I don't want to put you in. How firm are you on that? Or as this season has progressed, have other schools sort of said, we'd love to have you here?
So
you got to think about this, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty firm on it right now. Obviously, a couple schools have reached out. Nothing's came yet, but we're just seeing the ball's in God's hands, really, and wherever I get with that is where it is.
Is it nice to have the options, though? Like, you have Temple, you're committed
Yes.
there, but like, you have options. There's not that stress of, like, what am I going to do?
No. So it's great having options. I love Temple. I love the way, like, they treat things there, the family mindset. I mean, I'm going to be going there with another Ocean Shore.
That's right.
Shore
Tyler
athlete.
Douglas, yeah.
So, no, I mean, if that's the place I'd go, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. They're a great football school. I mean, I'm going to be there. It's close to home, so it's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
You go there, you might be protecting Kurt Warner's son, who's the quarterback over
Yes,
there.
sir.
Matt, we're not asking you any questions about college. We'll do that next year.
We do have to, and I mean, these guys are great. We can keep talking to them. We got to get Ed's questions in, right?
All right.
Ed's not
Go ahead.
here.
Do it quick.
We got to do it,
Go
right?
Go ahead. It's a tradition like no other.
Do you guys have pasta parties or team parties stuff for it?
Always.
What does Ed always ask? Who's the guy, if you're in the buffet line and you're behind him, like, it might be it. There might be not food left. Like, is that you or is that somebody else?
Definitely not me.
So who's the
I
biggest
think we both
eater?
know who that is. Yeah. Connor Reynolds.
I was thinking Connor Reynolds.
Yep.
I love it.
He's called the Barbarian. I don't know. He confuses me on some parts.
That
but,
sums it up.
I will say it fits him because he plays like a barbarian.
Yeah.
So he eats like one too.
Yeah, 100%.
Good to
He'll go
know.
up with 3 plates and then still be hungry and go out to dinner somewhere. So I mean,
Who's the team comedian? The guy who's cracking jokes, keeping it loose. Maybe has to get told a couple times by coaches to maybe serious it up a little bit. But who's the guy keeping the mood light?
Ward. It's a D-line, dude. Just
Well,
in
you say
general.
one D end is the barbarian, the other one's the comedian, huh?
Yeah, and Boom too. Like both Ward and Boom, like they're just a duo that you wouldn't want. No, I'm just kidding.
Who's the most? And I know Ed always phrase this is like, who's the guy, coach, you don't want to see if you make a mistake. But who's the most vocal coach? And this you could probably pick from a lot because you guys are the only team in the Shore to have 2 get-back coaches. 2. And a lot of times, I don't even know if they can keep Staub and O'Connor and even maybe Canary off the field. But who's the most vocal coach where maybe you miss an assignment or something like that? Like maybe you go to the other side of the sideline when you go off.
Probably Staub or Canary. I mean, practices, if we mess something up, Coach Staub tries to spike his play sheet, but it just floats on down because it's not heavy enough. They care so much about the game, and it's great because you want them to be hard on you like that because you're not going to get better if you don't expect perfection every time. So that's what I love about that. But definitely them, they're definitely most vocal.
Guys, you have been just incredible. We could have done another half hour with you. Now, normally we don't give you any. When you get here, we feed you. The office lounge is very nice to feed you, but we don't give you any takeaways. As I'm walking out of my office today, we have an area in the hallway where there's a lot of stuff that's going to get thrown away. I don't know how long it's been there. I've never seen it, and I just turned to my right, and I saw this. And I said, I got to give this to these guys. I think it's a panther.
It's more
what?
I don't want to burst your bubble. I think it's more of a leopard.
Yeah,
Panthers are all black.
It's a panther tonight. Don't argue with me.
It's got that Panther spirit.
Thank you very much, Cole.
It's in the big cat family.
Love offensive linemen. So I think this was an omen that I saw this. I really do. So I'm going to present it to you, Cole.
Oh, thank you.
Now, you can do anything you want with it. You can throw it in the garbage.
Go in the locker room.
But I'm just going to say this. It may be an omen, so you don't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
You can always paint it black.
Yeah.
Cole Skinner, Matt Oliphant, terrific representatives of the Point Borough football program, the school, and the community, and their own families. Thanks, guys, for coming down.
Thank you.
We'll take one more break. We'll come back. Ed will join us. We'll wrap it up on the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network. And welcome back to the fourth quarter of the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network. Again, please take care of downloading the Varsity Link app if you are an athlete of any skill level. So go to varsitylink.com and please download it. By the way, let's give a little kudos. You know, Ed was all excited about Matt Oliphant's socks, and we found out his dad, who's here tonight, owns Baja East Surf Shop, and that's where they are. And Ed, like anyone else, you can go in there and you could pay cash and get a pair of socks. Don't try and use this like we gave him a little plug. Can I get the socks? That's illegal. We can't do that.
Okay.
You got to pay cash. All right?
Gotcha.
The exception to that is if you get a car for free, I'll let you take it, but not the
Yeah,
socks.
not the socks.
Not the socks.
Seems fair.
Really enjoyed chatting with those guys. So here we go, Bob. We're going and next to last week of the regular season. Some of the division races were all but decided. Shares have been clinched, and I'm sure more will happen this weekend and certainly by next weekend. What's on your radar, though, for this weekend?
I mean, this is another week like we had 2 weeks ago where it's almost a complete non-divisional week. So you don't – last week, all 7 of the Shore Conference divisions had one team clinch at least a share of the division title. Next week, they can go out and win it outright, Point Borough included, in the Independence division. The game that I'll be at on Friday night, I already say that I'm looking forward to, is Middletown North at Ocean. Ocean on number 6 team in the Shore, undefeated. Middletown North was ranked number 10 last week. Were defeated 14-10 by Long Branch. They dropped out, but still a quality team and an intriguing game to me. And there's a lot of – this isn't a week where there's any huge matchups really, but that's one of them I'm looking at. We also have a top 10 matchup with Donovan Catholic going to Jackson Memorial.
Yeah.
So that's in there. Some rivalry games, Toms North, Toms River East, probably won't be that competitive, but still a rivalry game where the fans will show up for that one. Colts Neck at Wall, another interesting game. Even though Wall's 0-5, it's still, I think that's an interesting game because I think we expect Wall to get a win at some point. Still a solid team. Colts Neck trying to win their 6th this season. Those are a few that stand out to me.
By the way, Steve Meyer, our executive director, and I will be at Ocean on Friday night with you by coincidence for the Butcher's Block Game Day Countdown. That'll be our tailgate effort there. And as you said, it is kind of an intriguing matchup, and I want to see Ocean again.
A couple other ones. I mean, Brick-Lacey is a traditional, rivalry matchup. So that Brick's a solid team, 3-3. Lacey having a little bit of a tough year, but again, those are two teams that like to play each other, that the fan bases are familiar with one each other. Marlboro and Alpin, kind of the same thing. That used to be a Thanksgiving Day game. Now, Marlboro, unfortunately, not at full strength. As we mentioned, their quarterback, A.J. Schwartz, hurt 2 weeks ago. But it's a gritty Marlboro team. I mean, they lost to Jackson Memorial 27-20, and that's with Matt Cassidy. After A.J. Schwartz got injured, he's their top offensive weapon. He gets hurt. Thankfully, everything's okay. He could be back this week. I talked to his father, but he was out of the game, and they still found a way to battle. So I think that could be a pretty good game. Marlboro and Manalapan, Colts Neck Wall we mentioned, Middleton North Ocean.
Shore Manasquan, don't forget.
Shore Manasquan also, you're right, on Saturday. And Matawan, a huge test for the Huskies, but Matawan 5-1 will go into the swamp and see what it can do against number 5 Middletown South.
I told you last weekend we were at the Middletown South Rumson game, and I was waiting in line in the bathroom, and a guy was coming out, and it was a Matawan player. I didn't know he didn't have a shirt on. He stopped me, so to Shore Sports Network. He said, "Hey, what do we got to do to get ranked in the top 10?" I said, "Well, you got to keep winning." He said, "Well, you just mark it. When we beat Middletown South, we're going to break into the top 10." I said, "If you beat Middletown South, you're going to break into the top 10.
Team of the week, top 10. You'll have a lot of accolades coming your way. Another one, low-key, it's not a huge matchup by any stretch, but Pinelands at Monmouth is an interesting game to me because Monmouth, a pretty solid team. They have one of the better running backs in the Shore in Julian Jones. And Pinelands now they're 3-3 under John Tierney. They're playing tough. And I think that could be a sneaky game where that score comes in Saturday afternoon, and you see it kind of came down to the wire and was a thriller.
It's a shame that Monmouth lost due to injury, right? The quarterback.
He is I believe he's back. They played Point Borough. He was back last week, but Anthony Jen, their quarterback. I know he did miss one game, maybe two, but he was back. So Monmouth at full strength now.
They picked up a couple losses,
they did,
without him in the lineup.
They after a really good year last year, Monmouth 6-4 winning division.
Right.
They moved up in the division, so they're with Point Borough in that Independence division. Raritan, a top 10 team. St. John Vianney, a top 10 team. So certainly better competition for Monmouth, but I think they're still playing pretty well.
So we're kind of towards the end here. We got a couple minutes left. Ed, anything you want to add?
No,
How was your pizza?
I had one slice, and my wife's going to be happy with it.
Okay.
I'm taking it home to her.
Leftover pizza is better than fresh pizza
I
a lot
agree.
of the time.
I agree. I was hoping to go home and watch a baseball game, but it doesn't seem like any baseball games are being played today.
They're on. Yankees are on tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
When do the Mets play, though?
Oh, Kevin.
I had to do it.
Haven't mentioned anything.
If you don't see me on the show next week, that's why.
Wow. That really hurt.
We can.
That was disappointing.
We can join together on our Rangers, though.
I tell you what, you guys know I'm not a Yankees fan, so I glanced at the Yankee game last night, but it was a rare occasion for me to watch a Rangers game because the damn TV situation
we
have.
can't get MSG.
We don't get MSG, but it was on ESPN last night, season opener, and I watched it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I sort of got myself into it.
Look, we can go down the list of all the major sports and even some of the minor ones, and there's Shore Conference athletes, former Shore Conference athletes all over the place. Hockey is included. The Van Riemsdyk brothers, who started CBA. I know Yoki Ryan, who played at CBA, is in the NHL as well, and it's pretty cool to see because no matter what you turn on, from baseball to basketball to hockey to, of course, football, even NASCAR, Martin Truex is one of the best drivers there, the Southern Regional grad. It's pretty cool to see, and that's what makes covering not just football, but sports in the Shore Conference so special.
Little weak in badminton, but okay, you can't have everything.
I hear there's some pickleball.
Pickleball was on TV last.
Tom Brady just bought a franchise
So did LeBron
in
James.
Pickleball.
There you
It's
go.
the next thing.
That'll do it. Our thanks again to Brian Staub, Cole Skinner, and Matt Oliphant from Point Pleasant Borough. Our thanks, of course, to the people here at the Office Lounge in Toms River, our wait staff, who was great. Always take care of your waiters and waitresses and bartenders, isn't that what they usually say at the end of the night? Guys, it was fun. We'll be at MJ's in Neptune on Route 66 next Wednesday, and we'll really be getting set for the last week of the scheduled season, so to speak. But until then, keep it on Shore Sports Network all weekend long for great football coverage. Friday we'll have our football picks and all of that good stuff, and just follow along. Special thanks, of course, to Steve Meyer, who we were going to give a title to, but we got like 6, and we can't figure out how to morph it into one. Tom Tremblay.
He is the Jose Oquendo
of the very good
Marceline Coach's Corner. For anyone who gets that reference, awesome. If you don't,
I'm sorry.
You might have to just look it up.
Little too young. And, of course, Tom Tremblay, who somehow makes it every week, gets us going, and we couldn't do it without them. So for my partners, Bob Batters and Ed Sarluca, I'm Kevin Williams. Thanks for watching the Varsity Link Coach's Corner on the Shore Sports Network.